Once again, live edition. Today we got straight talk about the spin serve, and we are very lucky to have the PPA Commissioner, Pardoe, and the head referee of the PPA, Don Stanley, here with us to discuss all things PPA and what started out to be a very exciting new spin serve rule coming down the pike turned into lots of rumors flying around about acquisitions and purchases and all sorts of stuff on the PPA, and we want to get to the bottom of it. So we're very glad that you guys both joined us tonight. How are you guys doing?
Doing good. How are you guys? Thanks for having us on, Jason and Jared. Really appreciate you guys and all you do for the pickleball community. So thanks for making time.
Yeah. Doing great, guys. I'm so excited. I colored my hair. That's $11. That tells you how much I love you. So
looks fantastic.
Man, you look short for some reason, Don. You need to raise your chair up. No, I'm just kidding. You're good.
Okay. There you go. Boom.
Oh, there we go.
I mean, to echo what Jason was saying, it's the 4th of the year, and I knew pickleball. I knew this year was going to be big for pickleball, but I did not expect this many developments. So let's dive in.
Yeah, I mean, it's been I think pretty surprising for everybody. Definitely not something that we were planning on. I don't have a whole lot that we can say yet. We should have more of an official statement, before the first tournament somewhere around January 15th. But all I can say is that pickleball should definitely be prepared for a new, bigger, better, more vibrant PPA tour. And we're really excited about it. We're excited about the minds and the people that we're surrounding around us. And our big thing is just getting a little bit bigger and a little bit better every single day, every single year, every single tournament. And, that's what to expect from us. And the partnerships that we have, I think, are really exciting for one, the pro level, but two, just the overall landscape of pickleball. I think, it's been so amazing to see the sport grow, how much it has over the past 2 years since the PPA has been here. I mean, it's pretty crazy to think about it. Our first event, guys, was only 22 months ago, pre-COVID, and to see where the sport was now and where it is, where it was then and where it is now, I actually think we're going to see more growth and we're going to see a lot more evolution the next 2 years than we saw the past 20 months.
So I have a question. Is the spin serve rule change, is it at all related to the acquisition?
No, it would have happened regardless.
Okay. Not sure I fully believe you, but
So what are we allowed to talk about? Are we allowed to speculate on who came in with either an investment or a flat out purchase? Do we know which one it is? Are we allowed to talk about that?
There's still things that we need to do to get done, and I want to be careful talking too much about it, but we're excited about it. Obviously Tom Dundon's a great guy, and we're excited that he's taking such a love into the sport of pickleball. And, for us, it's still a business and we think it's going to be a great thing, but we love the game as well. So it's all about growing it the right way. But like I said, we're really excited about Tom coming into the sport and all the great things that are going on. But unfortunately, I can't dive into too much details until we get a little bit further down the road. But I would love to bookmark another time, once we get to that time where we can dive in and talk about the nitty gritty and, be able to have that full transparency. But just a few more things we need to button up first, but definitely big things down the pipeline.
Great. And can we talk
about... we haven't had...
Go ahead, Jared.
Go ahead, Jason. Well, so we haven't had you on before, Connor. And so maybe instead of diving into the acquisition, if you're open to sharing what your vision is for the PPA Tour, why a pro tour, how it came to be. I've been to your events. I think they're amazing. I think that what you've done with the tour has been a great forcing function for the sport, for better production, for better marketing, just more creativity. And so I think it's been great from what I've experienced. So I don't know if you want to share a little bit about what the PPA Tour's vision is, why a pro tour, so on and so forth.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. And I think the best way to answer it, it's probably, very similar to why, yourself and Jason wanted to get into the sport. We saw something that was so amazing, a community that was so great, something that had such an opportunity that was just starting to take off. And we thought, man, if we can put some time, effort, money into this sport, we know this sport's going places, and it felt like, it's the right time. And it's one of those things where it's a once in a lifetime opportunity where you're almost caught pinching yourself saying, man, we're getting in this thing at the right time. And for us, we saw the sport, and we've obviously have seen, we have other businesses that we run that have been really successful, but we've also been around other sports. And, being able to look at the pickleball landscape, there was a lot of great stuff going on, but the vision we had was really to take it up to that next level, which, we still need to grow. We still need to get better each and every day. But I think we did a pretty good job building that foundation of just overall professionalism and really giving the best players in the world an opportunity to showcase their talents and be able to give them the stage to really be able to show everyone what the sport's all about. But, what makes our sport so fun is play where the pros play. Everyone gets to have a little taste of it. They get to play against people their own age, their own skill level. There's not really anything like it. And then you go get a beer and you get to watch Tyson McGuffin play. I mean, it's a pretty fun thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I think is a great match with Tom, and I know that Tom is majority owner of Topgolf. I think that the ability to take a game like golf and find a new way to get people, interested, playing, get clubs in hands. I once heard a stat that said, 90% of the people that go to Topgolf had never had a club in their hand before that. And so
I believe it. My wife's been there, so I believe it.
Exactly. And if you see some of the swings over there, it's very believable. But yeah, I mean, I think that it's a super exciting way to get more people engaged in the sport. He obviously knows what he's doing in terms of grassroots enabling of a new sport and getting people. And I think that's a little bit what PPA is also. We have, rec games going all over the place, but you guys have given it some structure, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen in the future when there's significant money put into this, and being able to take this to a broader audience. So I'm excited, and looking forward to what's next.
No, a ditto. Couldn't agree more. And like I said, I think this is really just the start of something special. What's been so great, I feel like we built such a great foundation, and we have the foundation, to build that house, to keep continuing to build, the PPA Tour and the pro circuit. And, look, guys, for us, we take a look at the PGA and what they're doing. We take a look at the ATP, the WTA. That's where we want to be, and that's what we want to do. And our way's not going to look the same as theirs, because pickleball is not the same as their sport. But, that's what we're trying to create, is that professional circuit, that professional atmosphere, again, where you can't do it without the best players in the world. So hand in hand, working with the best players and really continuing to develop this game.
So talking about the best players, I know you guys have been on a signing spree, getting some of the best players in the world to sign up with the PPA. What's the logic behind that? And is there a process to that? Are you looking for, top ranked players or people that are, feel like they're aligned well with the PPA? Is there criteria for that?
Yeah, obviously, performance is very important, but there's a lot of things that we're looking at, like obviously personality, draw. Who are people going to watch? Who are people going to want to watch? Who looks great on the court? Who may be a up and comer? Who's had previous results? Who has a fan base? Who's performed well? I think there's all those things that we take into consideration. There's not necessarily a exact equation. But there's multiple things that we look for, and we like the players to check the majority of those boxes.
Yeah.
Will the tour be kind of keeping an eye on the up and coming younger players, looking at who they'll be signing for future years? Is that something that, from a kind of scouting department concept?
Yeah, you see somebody like a Jay DeVilliers and a Leia Jansen and a Laura Stratman. Those are people we previously didn't have signed under contract. And man, look at what they did this year. Look at the performance they had. Look how well they played. And exactly, we're so excited that they're a part of what we're doing in the future. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty more people jumping on the circuit just like that.
Connor, how did you get involved in pickleball? How did you first get into this game?
Yeah, it's funny. My family, we played a lot of tennis growing up. So that was a sport that my grandfather got my dad and all of his siblings in, something that trickles, through our bloodline. And my aunt actually stumbled upon the sport way before us. And believe it or not, she was, everyone has a similar story where someone's begging you to play and you hear the name and it's kind of a family joke. But sooner or later, my aunt drugged me out on the court and played one time, and I probably picked up a tennis racket maybe 2 or 3 times since. So, that's what really happened. I mean, you get out there, and I assume it's similar with you guys. You get playing, and you just go, oh my gosh. And it's such a unique sport because the threshold to play is so little, but in order to get good, like the expertise is so hard. So it's something that just gets everybody coming. It doesn't matter if you've never played, you can hit the ball around and think you're pretty dang good. But on the other side, like you leave the court going, man, I think I can get better. Like, let me check out YouTube, what's Dave Weinbach doing, right? So that's how I got into it, fell in love with the sport, started playing in a few tournaments, and, that's really the rest is history.
How's your game?
Very average player. I'm a very average player.
That's not true. He's a good player. He actually invited me out to his home court, which is beautiful in Utah, and the guy can play. I don't know what I was expecting, but you've got some game.
So from your Electrum after we played, I'm like, I gotta get that Electrum, right?
Are you playing with Electrum now?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. When I can get out and play.
So from your first game, the first time you went out and stepped onto a pickleball court, how long was it until you came up with the concept for the PPA Tour, and then when was the first tournament? So
when I first stepped out to when we had the conceptual idea was probably about 12-ish months. We had about 12 months we had about 6 months flirting around with the idea. Are we really going to do it? Running a market analysis, really taking a hard look at it. And then another 6 months of trying to get up and going and adding pieces. It's always hard to add staff and add pieces when you're not making any money yet. So, Connor Ogden, who is my good friend all the way back from high school, he was really the first one where I actually took him out to lunch and I bounced the idea off him and he's like, let's go. So, so it was about 12 months from when I first played and then about another year until, it actually came to fruition in Mesa.
And then you whooped up on your good friend on a live stream on Connor during the rain delay. Now, that was pretty.
I think he technically beat me, but I think Simone was keeping score, so she had something to do with that.
So, all right. So I know, Connor, I'm aware that you're going to jump in a few minutes.
Yep.
So I want to talk a little bit about the spin serve, because that's the news that came out, maybe a few days ago, even over the weekend, I think, which kind of leaked out, if I'm not mistaken. It wasn't something that you guys, formally announced, but it somehow made its way through social media. You guys verified that was, in fact, a truth, and wanted to hear a little bit about, one, why, and two, how you guys make these decisions.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And, for us, it is something that came out. I mean, it came out a day or two before we were ready to actually announce it. That might be, because of the process of which we have when we're, going to introduce a new rule. So, for us, we were able to, what's nice is we had a sample size of what happened at nationals when people were serving, with a one-handed toss. And, from the time we heard that serve, that they were going to continue to be able to spin the ball out of one hand, it was a concern to us. And it was something that we were continuing to try to understand. Obviously, we consulted with our contracted players that are on tour. And I want to make one thing clear. The PPA is not here to change all the rules for the amateurs. We don't really feel like that's our place. If you take a look at any sport, there's rules and things that vary from the pro level down to the amateurs, or whether it be from the professional to college to high school, whatever it may be, whatever sport there is, you see that. But we do see ourselves as the stewards of the professional game and of the professional sport. And so, being able to consult with those players that play our tournaments, game in and game out, and also taking some time, talking to Don Stanley, talking to our team, we felt it was definitely necessary to eliminate. But on the flip side, I would recommend to USAPA that they do the same thing on the amateur side. That's our recommendation. But the last thing we want to do is start any kind of confusion. So we're going to go through the process on the amateur side, and we're going to, that's where the majority of people, if they're playing in a local park or they're playing in another event or a PPA event, we want to keep it the same for them. But on the professional side, it was pretty clear what we needed to do. There really wasn't in our mind at all, really. It was really transparent.
Well, and I think that And then what you said about confusion, I think that rings true. I do spin it, and I can tell you that when I go out to the park, I get it's that's going away next year, or that's not legal, or you can't do this, and I have to explain it. And we had Mark Pfeiffer on from the USAP Pickleball to talk about their process, go over the rules, what was going to be legal, what was not going to be legal, and try to really get that out there in terms of making it clear on what you can and cannot do. So then when we got the news that PPA, at least on the pro ranks, was going to change it, it was like the next day. I was back out there to like, oh, it's over now, and it was like just adding to the confusion. But I know that that's, you're taking care of your players and looking after the pro players. But I do wish that there was a unified rule that we could all agree on. And I certainly, I have questions. Actually, I'm going to ask Don. I know that you need to go, but I think that was there thought to amending it so it wasn't just an elimination, but maybe making it more risk reward, where if you when you let the toss out of your hand, if it bounces, that's a fault. Was there ever any talk of that?
Well, that would make it a drop serve then, wouldn't it? Right? We're talking about volley serve out of the air.
If you toss it up,
okay,
and you mess up the toss.
Oh, okay.
Hey, are you guys good by bounce? I'm gonna let you guys keep chatting with Don. Appreciate you guys so much and your time, and looking forward to do this again. Let's do it again after January 15th, and I'll let you guys keep picking Don's brain.
You got it. Great,
Sounds
Connor.
good.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
Connor.
Thanks for your time.
See you, Connor.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
All right, now the real questions. Bring out the real questions.
Is he gone?
He's gone.
Okay, I hear your question there. So you toss it and it bounces. You don't like the spin, it bounces. I mean, basically, you've got 10 seconds to serve the ball.
Yep.
So same as anything else. If you drop it, go pick it up. 10 seconds, you can try it again.
Well,
but I think what Jason's saying is,
if we're making up rules, why not make it where you get one shot? If it bounces, you don't hit it, it's a fault.
Maybe that would be too restrictive. I'm guessing here, but maybe that would be too restrictive. They asked me to write a rule.
Less restrictive than banning it.
Right.
Say again.
Less restrictive than banning it completely.
Less restrictive than banning it, yeah. I mean, it's a longstanding tenet that, you have 10 seconds to serve, so I don't think that was ever discussed. If you drop it, that's it. So, yeah. As long as you serve it within 10 seconds, do it.
I did talk to Zane Navratil yesterday, and he's been one of the he's innovated on the spin serve, and he actually said, surprisingly, and he said I could quote him on this, that he respects the fact that you guys banned the spin serve completely versus just doing away with the two-handed. It's either you can do a spin serve or you can't do a spin serve. So I thought that was a good testimonial. If Zane's saying that, then to me, it made me feel a little bit more comfortable, at least on what the pros were thinking. So kudos to getting Zane to feel okay with it.
Yeah, that's I got a lot of respect for Zane. Just a quick backstory. Last year, when the serve was changed about the illegal carry to allow the COVID serve, not name dropping, but Zane sent me a video saying, "Hey Don, with the new rule, would this serve be legal?" And I went, "Oh crap! Oh, that is legal." I immediately called Mark Pfeiffer. We looked at it. He said, "Yeah, that's legal." And so, boom, there's the whole chainsaw serve explosion, which was an accidental slip through the cracks. So, yeah, it was never intended to do that. So,
right. And so, in that, let's talk about that, because the COVID ruling on the paddle being used in there opened it up, and then it became a modified, maybe not chainsaw, but that hand that's on the paddle being used to create more spin, which was debatable whether the paddle hand was part of the paddle, and that would be illegal prior. But the one-handed spin serve has always been legal.
True, has always been legal. I think, though, with last year, people have realized if we put some effort behind this and maybe some innovation, we can really have a very powerful, effective serving weapon. I just want to say this. In the Orlando tournament, we had to move indoors one night, and I was reffing the 5-0, not the pro, but a 5-0 gold medal match. And, when we get the gold medal match at a big tournament, their competition, pretty even, right? Gold medal match. Mixed doubles. I think it was 11-0, 11-1. I think the female player, I don't know that she returned one serve. And I was sitting there because this guy had a tremendous spin, snap serve, whatever. And I was sitting there reffing that match going, this spin serve, in my opinion, I have the right to it, is ruining the game. It's a gold medal match, 11-0, 11-1, I think. So,
I bet you she could return the serve now.
Maybe so. Yeah, I do think
because as someone who does spin the ball, and every time I play somebody for the first time, it's tough. But they get it. Eventually, you start reading it, you understand, and it becomes a bit of cat and mouse. And I find it to be a really fun part of the game. Trying to figure out within the rules. That's why I feel like we've gone. I feel like maybe a step too far in saying, "Hey, we're going to eliminate this as a possibility." I kind of felt like let's make it harder. Let's make the risk even higher. But not eliminating it completely. That feels a little bit.
I think. And I think the other part is like, as the sport is growing so quickly, right? And now with the new news of the acquisitions and Pickleball Central, Pickleball tournaments, and just so much like up leveling in general of the sport, to Jason's point, it does feel like it's taking away the opportunity to innovate and to be creative. And I get it. Like, I get that for TV purposes, right? Like, you don't want to have a bunch of points that, where Tyson is whiffing on Zane's serve or vice versa, or whatever the circumstances. So I kind of see both sides, but I do agree that I think in a time when the sport is exploding, and to your point, right? Like, this is not for amateurs right now.
Right.
And so the 5-0 circuit, the 5-0 situation could still happen.
Yes, that's very true. Very true. And
so why not make it and I think that's the other thing is, like, pickleball is such a grassroots sport. And so now you have all these rec players. I was just in San Diego and I was doing a two-handed spin serve, and it was New Year's Day. I'm sorry, it was New Year's Eve. And people were like, well, this is the last day. And I was like, well, actually it's not. But they were like, well, you don't want to do that. That would look bad.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah.
It just creates more gray area. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, you're right. There are definitely people on both camps, both sides of it, and I respect all those opinions. I would offer this. I can only say somewhat. I'm limited here, but this has not to do with PPA. I know that this is being watched in the amateur ranks, and if this gets a big change to the game, I would not mind betting my house in Vegas that it will get changed.
Oh yeah, 100%. This is de facto changing the rules. I mean, you're not going to have the Pro Tour, the PPA Pro Tour, not having spin serves and then expect that not to matriculate down to the USA, pickleball changing that next year, or even mid-year. I could see that happening mid-year, just for But I feel like you guys have taken the lead on this, where USA Pickleball was letting it see how it played out.
Yes. And I'm limited. I'm the recording secretary, which means nothing for the rules committee, but I'm in all the meetings, taking notes, yada, yada. I can't say much, but it is a big, important deal that people are monitoring.
Well, let me understand how the PPA, what is the process for the PPA to review and change rules that USA Pickleball have put down, and then you guys take a look, let serves being one of them, but now the spin serve. How does that rule get put into place?
Through a lot of discussion. Connor, the players, me, Connor Ogden, through a lot of discussions and talks and debates back and forth. And we've been talking about this for 2 months now that we knew what was coming out, from USA Pickleball. So a lot of discussion. And then finally, 10 days ago, Connor said, hey, we're going to make it happen. I need you to write a rule not allowing spin on the serve. So,
okay. So there is no real formal process.
Were any of the pros involved in this decision?
Yes. I mean, they talk to the pros, they listen to them, they talk about with me. My specific role was ask, okay, we are going to do it, write a rule, eliminate all spin or manipulation. So, but yes, they've been talking to them. And on one hand, people go, well, the PPA, they were driven by pros. The other side of that argument could be, they listen to their clients. So there's aspects on both
Yeah,
sides.
I'm not passing judgment. I was just curious.
Sure.
I assumed that there were certain players who have not adopted the spin serve who were not in favor of the spin serve, and vice versa.
I know of one popular player who is not a fan of the spin serve, but he used it all year. So yeah. So sure that happens.
So let's talk about.
We have a member question, and then we'll dive back in. And I can't tell who it is, just this Facebook user. Why is the PPA going against the USA Pickleball rules, which we've just discussed, and replaying let serves for the pros? I've never seen a pro not be able to return a let serve.
Again, consulting with the players. I'm trying not to cough here. Consulting with the players, they felt they didn't feel last year that the pro ranks were the place to try this new rule. And I guess a majority of the pro players said, let's keep it as is. And the reason the let serve went away was because of phantom let calls, where let's say I'm a ref, player calls let, and it was 2 feet above the net. And I have to go, no, that was not a let. That's a fault on you. I've never experienced that in my life ever. Didn't think it was that rampant or common, but it does happen, and it causes arguments. So they decided to go, remove the let serve. I mean, that has been debated, strongly on both sides as well. So I would say that was probably a player-driven consideration right there. And I do want to say one thing that maybe a lot of people don't know. On page I of the rule book, paragraph 4, it does say that non-sanctioned tournaments can be flexible in the application of the rules, depending on skill levels or whatnot. So the rule book itself, nobody wants to hear this, but the rule book itself allows non-sanctioned tournaments to be flexible on which rules they want to imply. So, and every time we did it last year and this year, we called people at USA Pickleball and said, hey, here's what we're going to do. We want to show a courtesy to do that. So, okay.
So Don, so
Yes.
now the way that the rule is written now is that if someone does impart spin on the serve or out of the hand, there's going to be a replay, right? Redo it. Is there a number of times before you can get called for it to be a point, or how does that work?
Okay, so there's no reason for the serving team to delay the game, right? They're the ones who are trying to score the points. So there's really no concept for them to delay the game. Again, let me expound about this. Say I've heard some people on Facebook say, well, now you've added another level of judgment call by the ref. True. Okay, fine. But all the impact is a reserve, right? Probably as soon as the person hits the ball, say, hang on, too much spin, do it again, okay? I don't think a lot of refs are going to go crazy with this. And quite frankly, we all know, that phrase in Congress when they said, define pornography. Well, I can't define it, but I know it when I see it.
Yep.
Yeah. I think when you see a player do the spin, do the snap finger roll, you're going to know it's spin. Everybody out there that you can easily tell when somebody's trying to impart spin on a ball. So when that happens, say, hey, and maybe they forget. I don't think it'll be an issue at all. If it's normal amount of spin that just happens naturally, not going to be a big deal. You can tell when somebody's trying to impart spin. So just reserve before the ball even gets across the net. Just reserve.
Yeah, no, I was thinking more in terms of almost as a protest to continue to spin it, and there is no penalty. You just keep on going.
If I felt a player was just delaying the game, I'll give them maybe a verbal warning at first this year for the delay of game, maybe even a technical warning. But I mean, they're the ones getting ready to score a point. Why would you want to delay the game when you're trying to score a point? So,
yeah.
So Don, we just taking a step back. How did you get into pickleball?
It was either join the Army or be a ref. So by the judge said that. No, a friend of mine called me like everybody else said, hey, I want to teach you this game called pickleball. And I had the phone. And I went. And so I got into that. I'd done officiating in other sports. Started playing, got the addiction, like everybody else. Then got into reffing as well. Loved that. And then started traveling to tournaments and thought, well, rather than fly somewhere and lose in 2 games, why not, try to ref, which I really love. And I'll say this, and this is where people hate it. I don't play anymore at all. I love to ref, and I love refs with a passion. So yeah, a friend got me into it, and yeah, just like everybody else, love it. So.
And what year was that?
2015. Yeah.
And so you've seen a lot of changes in the sport, a lot of new skill coming in, new shots, styles, strategies.
Yes, over the years, I'm not a long time. I've been in it a long time. I guess 6 years now. So yeah, especially when we look at the rules, 2016, 2018, 19, 2021, 22. Yeah, a lot of changes. I like, I guess, that the average age is getting younger. I like that. I love seeing newer, younger people coming into the sport. So it's always great to see.
Don, this new spin rule, this applies to seniors as well for senior pro.
Yes, it's always in pro and senior pro. Yes.
Okay.
And if I could offer this, I've heard it asked a lot. Well, okay, if they think it's bad for pickleball or whatever, why not do it in the amateur ranks? I talked with Connor about this today. I mean, yeah, last year when we did the 3 rule changes or pause, and then this year, of course, it's stirring the apple cart. I get it. I would say the same principle as last year. If we're going to stir the apple cart, let's just do it in the pro ranks. There's a long-standing concept of different rules for pros and other ranks. Okay, so I would say this year, same concept. Let's just do it in the pros. Leave the amateurs alone. Have them follow all the USA pickleball rules. Consistent, same as last year and this year would be what I would offer as to why. So,
yep, I understand.
We have another member question, kind of a random question. How much do refs make, Don?
Okay, I could always not enough. I'll say this: refs who travel, unless you're local, refs who travel lose money to come and ref. Yes, they get paid. Going rate now is for a certified ref $15 a match. Okay, that's a standard now. But all refs, when they travel, they pay money out of their pocket to come and ref a tournament, which is why I love them to death. Yeah, about $15 a match for certified. That's a good answer.
So, do we know who leaked this new ruling?
I thought one of you two did. I did.
I don't know. Right. Have we eliminated Connor as one of the 4 people that have this?
Well, when I wrote that rule and sent it to Connor, and then we met with 2-3 days later, Mark Pfeiffer and Don Pabin, and told them all. I said, okay, I emailed it to them. And then I see it 2-3 days later, word for word, what I had written. And I'm going, I sent that to 3 people, so 4 of us had it. And so Connor texted me and said, I had no idea how that got out. So I don't know.
Who were the 4 people? You, Connor,
Connor, Mark, and Don Pabin. So, and I think, it's this thing of, I can keep a secret, guys. It's the people I tell that run their mouth. So you got to watch out for them. But it's things just happen. Say, hey, don't tell anybody I told you this. And then there's the leak. I have no idea, but it would be one thing if the leak came out and said, we're hearing that they're banning the spin serve. But when you see word for word what I wrote 2 days prior, who knows? Who knows?
We didn't leak it.
I believe you. I'm kidding.
Hey, Don, was there any controversy amongst players? Because obviously this is we're 3 weeks away from a tournament, and you basically changed the rules of what someone might have been practicing for months. Was there any backlash from players on that?
From the pro players, I haven't been texted or private messaged on Facebook. I bet they all maybe knew this was coming. I'm sure they all talk amongst themselves. So I online, oh heck yeah, amateur ranks, oh heck yeah. But I haven't, from the pro players, I would say that no, I haven't received any or heard much of any backlash.
Yeah, but for the amateur ranks, it doesn't matter because this doesn't apply to them.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But
they may not like it that we're changing it, but yeah, they can still do it. So
sure, and they will. But I just felt like particularly players who are earning their living, playing this game and have practiced a skill that was in the rule book, and then all of a sudden, a few weeks before their first tournament, it is told that that's no longer legal. That felt like a little bit of a rug pull.
I get it. I hear that. I'm sure there are many other aspects to their game that they can rely on to still make money. So,
Sure.
again, I want to say the whole thing last year was an accident and it slipped through the cracks. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I think that goes for like the Zane and the chainsaw. Yeah. But once, like a Morgan Evans, who's been doing this his whole career,
right?
That feels like now he can't do that. That's his move.
Everywhere else except PPA he can, I guess. So,
yeah.
But again, folks, don't be surprised.
Nobody's going to play in the other tournaments, though.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, I get it. I get it. I hear you. So,
what is your relationship with Ron Ponder? In the kitchen, you guys had a little spicy interaction.
Number one, Ron's a very good friend. I've been all for his career going along, and he would say, this is not just platitudes. I really like Ron. But I understand that he wishes we would sanction, and that's been a source of I appreciate his integrity that, if we're not going to sanction, he's choosing not to work with us, and I get it. But Ron's a good friend, and I respect people's passionate opinions. I got a lot of good friends that are refs. Most of them are refs. That's who I hang around. So I appreciate and respect different passionate opinions just as much as I respect, my right to my opinion. So yeah, he's a good friend. Ron's a good friend.
We have a lot of outspoken officials in this game, I think. Do you agree with that? Which is not a bad thing, not a criticism. It's just I think that in other sports, officials tend to toe the line a little bit more than the personalities in this game.
I not about Ron. I do wish the refs in this sport were, number one, that they wouldn't eat their own. Okay. Sometimes you see a ref mess up online and wow, the refs are the first ones to eat their own. But I do wish that there was more separation between officials and players. I really do. Yeah, that's a big pet peeve of mine. So I agree with you. You don't see this much. You don't see NFL refs, doing that. So,
how about officials and social media?
Separate. Look, I'm a big fan of keeping it separate. I don't think refs. Okay, yeah, actually, that's a pet peeve of mine.
No, I like that pickleball. I love the accessibility of pickleball. The pros, the refs. You go to a tournament and Connor's willing to talk to anyone.
Sure.
I think it's cool. I hope it. And I didn't get to ask Connor this, but I hope there are plans in place to keep it that way to an extent, because this is not tennis. This is not golf. This is pickleball. This is why pickleball is so great. It's inclusive. It's community. So I hope it still, remains somewhat the same.
I agree. I just when it comes to refs and officials, I view us just as professional as any other professional sport, and I love the refs that take it seriously and professionally. And I do think there needs to be dividing lines between refs and players. That's a big stickler for me. So
Don, how much thought went into, or how much discussion went into while you were making the spin rule, that as the governing body of a sport, right? You knew that making this ruling was going to undermine their, not necessarily authority, but it was going to have a trickle down effect and somewhat undermine their authority. Was that a conversation internally with the PPA?
No, I could say no, that because I know the goal was not to undermine their authority. It was purely, obviously, just we don't want to allow spin in the pro ranks. And again, I can't say too much here, but maybe I didn't lose a ton of sleep thinking, last year when we did the 3-rule thing, I said, oh boy, I did lose sleep over it. But this year, I'm just saying that this spin serve is going to be watched, and would not surprise me if it gets changed. It's about all I can say. But
across the board,
yeah. Yes, across the board, it would not surprise me at all.
Another question coming in from a senior pro. You taking Weinbach out of the mix. Who's your favorite senior pro?
Would never answer that question, and don't think any referee ever should.
Fair.
Dead serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would hope no ref would ever answer that question. So,
where do you see the sport? And I was going to ask Connor this, but he had to jump. But so where do you see pickleball in 1 year, 3 years, and 5 years?
Oh, wow. Wow, man.
1 year.
Very
1 year from
specific.
today.
Wow.
July, September, and April.
Okay. I'll give an honest answer. I see it. I see there's the PGA Tour, and then there's the USGA, right? USGA is the governing body. The PGA Tour is the pro players. Okay. If I had to say from 1 year from now, obviously, because of what's happening, I would say there will be some separation. I think it might look more like that setup. That's an honest answer. So, yeah.
Where do you see? Oh man, so there's 2 pro tours right now, and then there's another entity, MLP. Where do you see that? How do you see that looking in a year?
Pulling
your feet to
I
the
don't know
fire.
if that'd be appropriate to.
You cannot answer.
Yeah, that'd be inappropriate for me to answer. I think it's I know Ken Herman. Have a tremendous amount of respect for Ken Herman. So
Likewise,
yeah, and MLP, the refs that came back from that, it was like they went to Christmas. They had such a good time. So it's it's all good and growth and good for the sport, and it's all good.
we have a lot of fans in this chat. I don't think you can see it, but one, I can't see the name. Someone said Don is always a breath of reason, professionalism, and candor. The game is better because of his leadership at the referee rank. So
was that my mother? Was her name Stanley? Okay.
I can't see the name, but maybe it's someone you paid. Or
I told her to come on tonight. So yeah.
Jason, what other questions you got?
I think I understand the reasoning and the rationale. I understand it's hard. I worry that it's going to affect younger players. I go out to the park and I see the kids that are all trying to do the spin serve, and it's bringing people in. It's a different skill set, and the old people hate it, right? Like across the board, right? It is not conducive to senior players.
Huh.
And I worry that we are catering too much to the senior player and not focusing enough on the younger up and coming, kids that we're trying to kind of woo away from tennis, from other sports, and give this sport a shot. And I feel like it has a stigma. The name itself of pickleball has a stigma.
Yeah.
It is often referred to as your grandfather, grandmother's sport.
Right.
And I worry that we are perpetuating that stereotype by eliminating something that was always legal and now deemed difficult, so we eliminate it.
Well, and I would offer, but it's just the PPA Pro Tour is eliminated. It's legal everywhere else.
I know, but as you said, we're watching closely, and this has a knock-on effect for sure.
Yeah, we shall see. So,
someone in the kitchen asked, "Will the PPA be expanding what can be video challenged?" And an example of why they're asking is because of Jay. WA had wanted to challenge a kitchen push-off fault call.
Yeah, so thank you so much for that. I want to test that, talk to that. I'll summarize this. When we started doing the video challenge, we started with very simple line calls and whatnot. Then we tried to expand it to basically anything, and then the issue happened in Texas where Rob Cassidy wanted to challenge, was the ball dented when Ben smashed it out of the park? And I was frustrated, and I was actually frustrated for Rob that he wanted to video challenge that, because I knew it was going to lose the timeout. But I said, okay, if you want to challenge it, fine. So I then went on a tournament or two of, okay, I don't want players to just lose their timeouts when there's a 95% chance it's not going to be overturned anyway. So we scaled back.
Example
but
of why
then
you're asking is because of Jay.
Sorry about that.
Then we said, you know what? Let's expand it to any kind of. I'm rambling here, but I'll be concise. When Connor first mentioned the video challenge, he said, they can challenge any line call, and he said, what about a ref's call? And I immediately said, of course they can challenge a ref's call. We can make mistakes as well. So we started out with certain parameters, then we tightened it because I felt it was unfair for them to 95% know they're going to lose a challenge anyway. But then I've just expanded it to basically anything. They're adults. If they have a timeout, if they want to challenge, they can challenge anything. So yes, we are expanding that role this year to, other than technical warnings, which are subjective calls, pretty much you can challenge anything. Next year, this year, he can challenge a push-off fault because refs can make mistakes too, and the goal is get the call right. So yes, that is expanding. Yep.
And have you guys worked with the production teams to get the angles right to have enough cameras to be able to do so?
They have the cameras they have. Who would not love more cameras? Sometimes we wish, we had a different camera angle. It has been proven to be helpful. Sometimes calls have been overturned, which means the camera angle helped. The rule for the guideline for the referee in the truck is this: the call on the court stands unless you have clear evidence that the call should be overturned. And we're also going to try and limit that to 60 seconds, which is another good aspect about, I think, why I like working with PPA. We're allowed to beta test these things in the PPA and try them. So yeah, we're trying to get that much quicker, try to limit it to a minute. But yes, this year you can challenge pretty much anything because anybody can make mistakes.
Have you worked with other tours?
Other tours. Well, let's see. The other tours.
There's only one. There's only one.
Yeah.
Well, there's two other tours. There's APP and then there's national.
I mean, I've worked nationals, US Open.
National pickleball, but yeah.
I have not worked with them, but tour, no. I guess you would say tour, no. APP, no. So, yeah.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah. But we all use the same refs, and God love them. We all use the same refs. So,
Don, what is the feedback been on the rule change? Has it been, for the most part, to you? Has it been positive, negative, frustration, acceptance?
Overall, I think the big thing was the spin serve. Taking that away, the chainsaw serve, so to speak. Yeah, the two-hand serve, taking that away. That was the biggest push. I mean, last year we had 125 rule changes. This year, the change document is 20 changes, so that's a lot better. So this year, not a whole lot of changes, so not a whole lot of pushback, other than people feel adamant about the serve issue. So,
yeah.
We have a question from another Kitchen member. I want to know the following: how do you reconcile PPA pro matches with referees versus matches where maybe there isn't one? And then the second part is, how do you even put the calls made by players who now have a monetary vested interest almost on every point?
Okay, what was the first part of that question again? And
it was matches with refs and matches without refs.
Okay.
How do you reconcile those?
Okay, that's easy. Every pro and senior pro match at PPA has a referee. For the amateur brackets, we do the bronze and gold matches. And at any time, if a player wants a ref, we will assign a ref to a match. So all pro matches and senior pro, lower skills, gold and silver, and anyone who wants a ref. So,
and all the refs.
The harder question. Sorry, is that?
Okay.
Sorry, Jason. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Derek.
I was going to say the harder question. The players who now have a monetary vested interest, I think I know the answer that you're going to say, but
okay.
I think people might wonder, will there be favoritism?
If I notice favoritism, I'll pull a ref off a match. No doubt, and that's why. Thank you for asking that, because that goes to the separation between referees and players. I mean, I'm a big proponent of don't take pictures with pro players, or don't. I'm a big fan of. When the match is over, I don't tell people. I don't even have this guy on the score sheet. I'll just look at Ben or somebody, I go 15-12, then they'll give me a thumbs up. We don't applaud players. You keep it professional. And I saw one match where after it was over, the winning team, this is a good example. Certified ref, women's doubles, team won the match. Ref walks to the center, and the ref raised his hand and high-fived the player as she was signing the score sheet. that is extremely, extremely unprofessional and a big no-no, because the other team who just lost, let's say every call that ref made went in that team's favor, and now you're high-fiving them. So remove any impression of impropriety or favoritism. Just do everything you can. Hey, refs, take pride in what you do, okay? Take pride in what you do. Be professional about it. And now I got to check my blood pressure because that's a hot topic for me. So.
But all the refs are sanctioned by USA Pickleball. Is that right?
I mean, all is a big word, but yes.
All the PPA officials or all the PPA referees.
Well, there's different levels. There's certified, level 2, level 1, not rated. Right. But yes, they're all coming up through the USA Pickleball training program. Thankfully, they do a great job with that. They do a great job.
Is there any thought ever of the PPA taking that on their own shoulders and training them to their own specifications?
Hell no. And my mom is mad at me right now for cursing, but no. Look, I have no desire whatsoever to start the PPA referee training program. There's already a great training program. The refs out there are great. So I realize they may be upset that we're not sanctioning or it's still on hold, but who knows? But if we don't, refs, still come work for us. You get to ref the pros and we'll feed you well, and I love you. So come on, keep working with us. So.
Don, I have two last questions. Okay. Where are you from?
Where does it sound like I'm from? Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're both from Atlanta.
Okay.
So right. I was just curious, the accent. And then another question, what is your take on gambling coming into the sport?
Oh, I'm not necessarily thrilled with it, but hey, that's another step of evolution. Ban
it.
I'm not a fan of gambling in general. Okay. And I'm fine with people who are. I'm not necessarily. I don't wake up going, "Yay!" Let's put it that way. But it's coming. It's coming. So we'll see. And that's another. I want to tie in another reason refs keep things separate between players, because with money on the line and just be professional. Take pride in what you do, refs. Sorry, that's another soapbox. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's an important one, because I think with gambling, and gambling is going to put more eyeballs on the sport, and it's going to get people in it, and it's going to bring money into it.
Sure.
But it's going to bring with it a set of problems, and it's going to need that separation of church and state, and the rules are going to need to be in place. Yeah,
no doubt. I'm sure there'll be contracts or affidavits to be signed or non-compete or non-whatever. I'm sure it's all coming. Just not a gigantic fan of it, but that's just me. Here's why I'm not a fan of gambling. It's because I suck at it. I thought I was going to be a Texas Hold'em pro. Yeah, I realized real quick. About as quick as I realized I would never be a 5-0 player. So I suck at gambling. That's why I don't like it. So I help build Vegas. Okay, I help build Vegas.
I'm pretty good at Hold'em, and I'm a losing poker player. So it's hard. It's about as easy as becoming a pickleball pro.
There you go.
All right, Don. Well, I think that wraps it up for tonight. Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us and kind of give us the straight talk on the spin serve. I know that it wasn't always an easy conversation, and I know there's a lot of frustration out there. Some of it coming from me.
I thank you guys. I love this stuff, and I say this from my heart. I'm honored to be on these talk shows. I really am. You could ask anybody, and I'm honored. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we thank you for your time and for your service, and we look forward to seeing you out on tour this year.
Very good. Take care, guys. Thank you all. Everybody be safe.
Don. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Don.